Hi, I'm Adolphus Hailstork. The composition being performed by the Nashville Symphony is An American Port of Call. And as I have told others here in Nashville since I've arrived, this is like a homecoming for me, because Nashville Symphony, under Thor Johnson, who was the conductor then, was responsible for one of the big events in my life. Actually, it wasn't the symphony that commissioned it, but Thor Johnson, who was the conductor, asked me to write a piece on commission for him from the J.C. Penney store, believe it or not. And they wanted a box of orchestra music, and they would allow Thor Johnson to give one commission out to somebody. And Thor Johnson gave it to me. And I wrote a little piece called Celebration. Originally, it was supposed to be for high school students, but when you study composition, they don't really teach you how to write for high school students. They teach you how to write for the New York Philharmonic and other sizable and professional ensembles. So I wrote a real slam-bang piece, and it wasn't the high school students who took it up, it was the professional orchestras, and went around the country a lot. 10 years later, in 1984, the conductor of the Virginia Symphony asked me to, told me he was going to do Celebration to start a new recital season. And I said, well, let me write you something new. And the new thing that I wrote was An American Port of Call, which now is being played by the Nashville Symphony. So here's where my career began, and here is where it is at this time. Actually, I live in Norfolk, Virginia, which is the greatest military seaport in the world. And we have many, the aircraft carriers just line the block, But what happened when I thought of writing it, we have an annual festival there called a Harbor Fest, because it's one of the great harbors in the Chesapeake Bay. And so I wanted to pay tribute to that city of Norfolk and the whole area. And it just made sense to write a piece called An American Port of Call, kind of stealing from the title by Jacques Ibert of Ports of Call. But so I wrote this piece. It's got Americanisms in it. You hear some blues. It's got a dashy spirit to it. Highly energetic, colorful, and a bustling American port city is what I wanted to capture. So it's been played in Norfolk, and lo and behold, it's been played in Boston recently, and it's made its way here to Nashville, and I keep looking for Nashville's port, but I don't see it yet, and I just hope it's an enjoyable piece all around. If someone asked me what my identity as a composer is, I would say I'm a composer still in search of an identity. It's a polyglot approach. My style ranges from the beauties of choral music in the Renaissance to the most crashing of clustery modernism. And in between, I managed to fit in what I think I'm really evolving into authentically, and that is a romantic, not even a neo-romantic, but a romantic. I've always had a trouble with people who said the Romantic age died in 1900 or 1920, somewhere around the death of Ravel or Debussy in that area, and we went into the modern age, and everybody had to be a grim 12-tonalist and all this other stuff, especially after World War II. And when I was in school, there was a gun-to-the-head mentality among the teachers that if you weren't writing 12-tone, you weren't writing, and you had to get seriously considered by the critics in terms of your style. Eventually, I rebelled against that because I don't care about whether I'm seriously regarded by the critics. I believe that the composer's first responsibility is to his own happiness. And so in the search for that, I've gone through many style changes. I still use a diversity of styles, and I happen to believe with that. If there's such a thing as a composer of diversity, in many different ways you might think of that word, looking at me, then I'm it.